Hello and welcome to the British Bears Show. Bears coverage with a British accent. Well, what another crappy week to be a Bears fan. After Sunday, we thought the previous week were bad enough, but oh no, the Bears like to kick you not just once in the Tesco's, but twice. So how are you doing, Jason, this fine Tuesday?
Oh, I'm great, yes, mate. I've recovered. I've recovered from the horror of Sunday. Yeah.
You see what's happened, Jason, that when you started this season, you were lucky to get some nice wins to talk about. This is the norm of being a Bears podcaster. This is what you have to go through. I went through the season where we won 3 games, man, and by jolly, that was hard work, I'm telling you. But yeah, unfortunately, the Bears lost 29-9 to the Cardinals at their place. Let's start off like we always do with the offense, mate. Khalid Williams, 22 of 41, 217 yards, no TDs, no interceptions. He got sacked 6 times, which is dreadful. But I think Khalid at the moment he's seeing ghosts a little bit. Because obviously the offensive line is so porous at the moment that I think it's making him sort of rush a lot of passes. Also, he's having to run for his life a lot as well. I think he must be still sort of up there with sort of the least amount of time for the QB, like when he drops back to pass in the NFL, because he doesn't seem to be getting any time at all anymore. And I don't think our so-called fantastic receiver group's been helping him out as well. Roma Dunze did get over 100 yards. He got 104 yards from 5 receptions. Keenan Allen, he got 4 receptions for 36 yards. And DJ Moore, 4 receptions for 33 yards. Swift, 16 carries for 51, and he caught 6 passes for 31 yards. But the worst thing is that we only actually managed to do the third downs. We only got through the 29% of third downs, which is just a game killer for the offense. But I'm getting a little bit pissed off about this wide receiver group, to be honest with you. I think this is not kind of Roma Dunze, but Keenan Allen, get your fucking head out your ass, mate. He's so slow off the line. He's dropped so many passes in the last game. And DJ Moore, this is a guy who walks off the pitch before a player finishes. I know that he got knocked out of bounds, and I'm not too sure that if he came back in, he could still catch the ball, but he could have been a blocker. If, Caleb might have managed to get away, and he might have needed him downfield to be a blocker. So I'm getting slightly pissed off with DJ Moore, his attitude. Also as well, I think an interview earlier this week, they asked him about, it's such a daft question to ask a player because I don't know what a player's supposed to say, but they asked him about, has Flus lost the locker room? And he sort of said, well, I want to say no, which is basically saying that he has, or it's just sort of playing games. But overall, the injury to the offensive line is killing us because we're struggling anyway. But please, Jason, tell me your thoughts about the offense from Sunday to brighten me up, or just to make me feel slightly better about the next game.
Yeah. I'll give it a go, but there's not a great lot of material to use, is there? Firstly, just hi to everyone in the chat. First, thanks for everyone who's watching and listening, wherever you're getting your British Bears show from. There's quite a lot in the chat. Ant Mass, Matty for Cheesy, Brommy Bears here. Shorty's hanging around. J2K. So yeah, did I say Ant Mass? He's there too. But yeah, everyone, thanks for joining in. We'll do our best to try and cheer you up on this crappy Tuesday. Happy bonfire night. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess the Americans got no idea about that, have they? You guys from the US.
It's sort of a strange British. Because is it celebrated in Scotland or is it just an England thing?
I don't know. Maybe
Scottish bear. I'm Scottish. Yeah, but it's bonfire night over here. This is like Guy Fawkes, and he celebrates catching Guy Fawkes before he tried to blow the Houses of Parliament up about 500 years ago. And for some reason, For some reason, we're celebrated by building bonfires and putting an effigy of Guy Fawkes on top and then letting off loads of fireworks. So that's what we do on the 5th of November in England every year. Yeah. But no, please go on. Please go on about the offense, mate.
Digress. Yeah. So it was rubbish, wasn't it? Like I say, injuries. We are really feeling the pain of the injuries now. With pre-game, we have obviously we're down Braxton Jones, Kirana Magaji, and Bill Murray, all from the offensive line. And then during the game, we lost Darnell Wright as well as and also on obviously with Sweat, Gordon, and Brisker being out for starters. Then we lost Terrell Smith, Jalen Jones, and Big Bill on the defense as well. So we're getting ravaged by injuries at the minute.
Yeah.
But in terms of the offense, oh my God, I expect tomorrow morning there'll be milk cartons with Cole Kmet's face on around fucking Chicagoland. Just one target in 2 games. Are you kidding me? Like top 10 tight end in the NFL, and they're not using him. So I just don't understand what's going on. They allowed 6 sacks against a team that were, I think, like bottom 3rd in producing sacks.
Yeah.
Where I did write it down somewhere, but I've lost it in my scribbly notes. Kmet was not targeted. There was, Rome had a good game, didn't he? First, 5 receptions for 104 yards. Keenan and DJ. Keenan was targeted 10 times, had 4 receptions. So again, I've got a little stat about the accuracy of our quarterback for later on. But yeah, 3rd downs were pitiful, weren't they? 3 or 14 we converted. So interestingly, now we are on the season. We've converted 31.4%, which is 31st in the NFL. And that they said that is a drive killer. If you can't complete 3rd downs, then you're going to get off the field, aren't you? So yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do. You get glimmers of hope, and I know what it's like, mate, being a Bears fan. You get glimmers of hope with a couple of good weeks, and we always say, it was the Panthers, it was the Jags, but you got to beat who's out there, and you perform, and you just think, I know they're not the best teams, they're terrible teams, but you're developing rhythm, you're developing patterns, you're developing confidence and getting schemed together. This is where you sort of build that energy and that continuity and momentum to take into the games against the good teams. And the problem we've had in the last 2 games, of course, is that they were not good defenses. So, I'm actually getting quite nervous now about the rest of the season because our division rivals are going to massacre us, aren't they? So, Shorty, bless him, messaged me. Matty Francesi says, "Don't fall for it anymore, guys. When the offense does well, I don't think we are we? Right. Well done. Yeah, this is Brummy's got it right there as well. Last week's loss at Washington was shocking. This week's loss was alarming for many, many reasons. That's right. Yeah. I mean, there were some glimmers of hope from last week with Washington because we had a game-winning drive and we had to just have 25 fucking seconds to stop them going 80 yards down the field. And we all know what happened. We've discussed that, and I don't even want to go over that again. So that was different. That was like a fluke. A fluke happened, and it was a gut punch, and it was just dreadful. But this week we go in thinking, we saw a couple of good drives at the end. The offense was working. But this week nothing turned up, did it? The offensive line were just awful. They made a very average, being generous, an average Cardinals defense look pretty good, didn't they?
Yeah. The Cardinals defense just didn't give our offensive line any respect at all. They knew that we were struggling in that area and they targeted it and they did a good job, man. But sorry, Dave, go on.
It wasn't just, like I say, it wasn't just the 6 sacks. It was the fact that Caleb also got hit another 12 times, 12 quarterback hits. And he's not going to last if he keeps getting battered every game. So 5 tackles for a loss as well. The good news is, of course, that 41 passing attempts, no interceptions and no fumbles from our quarterback, which is that's a positive spin. He's secure with the ball now. Way fewer interceptions than Patrick Mahomes this season. So yay.
That's something we can cling on to, Jason.
We're going to cling on to everything, any piece of driftwood in this fucking shipwreck. So, and Cairo Santos, shout out to him. 3 out of 3 field goals, 2 from 50+ yards. So he's still banging them over. But that's all we can manage. It's a pretty poor state of affairs, isn't it? So oh man. And then the penalties again. The penalties. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
6 penalties we were for however many yards they were. 2 false starts, which is obviously the customary. Mercedes Lewis jogs in, does a false start and goes back to the sideline.
Yeah, that was a terrible call. That was
a really bad call.
That was a really nitpicky, terrible call. Because it ran to where the end was and they stopped. And of course, basically, their defender saw it and he went into neutral zone and came back. But I just don't see the movement. What he got called for. I didn't see it. It was an absolute shit call.
The leverage call on the leverage call on Dexter was harsh. Yeah. They're going to call it, and that was a killer as well, because we held them to a field goal in the red zone again, and then they get a fresh set of downs and punch it in. So that was a real gut punch again. It's just again those discipline that kind of like, not a rookie, is his second year, but it's still a mistake that we need to sort of iron out. And again, for the Swift personal foul, like chop block, whatever it was, a cut in.
Yeah, it was a high and low, wasn't it?
Yeah, but exactly. But the whole point of that foul is that if the lineman is engaged, the defender is engaged with another player, you're not allowed to take his legs, which I completely understand. What they considered engaged was that I think it was Tevin Jenkins put his hand out and touched his shoulder. Is that engaged with an offensive lineman? We should just go home now. If that's engaged and we got called for that, that I thought was total bullshit. That was just a ridiculous call. But hey ho. I mean, even my girlfriend, who's she's learning slowly about what the game and what it's all about. She's just at one point after some of these fouls, she said to me, "The Bears aren't doing the refs aren't doing the Bears any favors here either." She said they got it in for them or something. I was like, "Well, you tell me." When Charles Davis in the commentary called out the fact that there were like 3 consecutive passes where the Cardinals defender was all over the Bears receiver making contact. He's like, "Well, they're obviously not going to call anything like that today." Trying to let the game go, as it were. So it's just weird. Yeah, Matty's right. He agrees with you, and I agree completely. That Lewis false start was really suspect.
Oh, completely. Completely. Sorry, Jason. I mean, one thing like worries me is it's literally what you sort of touched on earlier on is what the fuck is this offense going to be like against Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, San Francisco? If we're struggling against Arizona, and I remember us talking about last year about how average their defense was, they didn't have any big players out from Buda Baker, then and also as well with the state of our offensive line, I think we're going to beat the Patriots on Sunday, but I'm really worried how we are going to win a game after the Patriots game with the running what we got for the last third of the season.
The Seahawks. I feel at least the Seahawks.
You might be Jason, because obviously the one when you saw them at Wembley. So you might be like a lucky omen to see him live. And thank God you didn't see that game on Sunday at Wembley. At least you saw the victory. I went to 2 Bears games and I only saw one. So you're doing 100% so far, mate. Just the trouble is, Shorty is a bit of a jinx. I'll just warn you about that when you go at Christmas time. He's a bit of a jinx when he goes live to a live game. But again, I wasn't overly thrilled with the play calling. He did miss a lot of passes. Williams did, like they were either behind the receiver or a little bit too in front of them. He just seems to be sort of. I think the pressure's getting to him. Do you know what I mean? Because he's probably thinking every time I'm dropping back for a pass, I've got 2 defenders in my face. You know what I mean? And after a while, it must start just seeing ghosts and it must be playing on his mind. And also as well, I don't think the receivers are getting very much separation as well. I mean, Keenan Allen, I can run faster than Keenan Allen. I'm 51. Do you know what I mean? The speed he comes off the line is ridiculously slow. And these, the ones what he dropped, they're catches what he should be making 100% of the time. There wasn't anything, particularly hard. I know rumour is they dropped one, but that was quite a hard one. And DJ Moore, man, I know I mentioned it before, but you don't fucking walk off the pitch, mate, before the fucking play's finished, man. Do you know what I mean? That's as bad as Stevens, what nearly not as bad, but up there. And people go, well, he went off, you were injured. But at the end of the day, we needed him to block downfield. If Caleb had got out, then he would have been an extra blocker for him. So I find he's really starting to grate on me as a player and just his attitude. And he's got to remember he's either the or one of the highest Bears players ever in Bears history, and he needs to act a little bit more. I think he's starting to pout a bit, and do not like that in players. I just find that really, I think it's such a selfish way of handling yourself when football is the ultimate team game. Do you know what I mean? So, anything more you want to add about the offense?
In my mind, I make with that, exactly. He's also one of the team captains. So if you've got a beef with how things are going on, you do it. You don't do it on game day. Do you know what I mean? It's like this. That's your time to lead the team. So all that, the younger players, you're experienced pro, really quality player. And you're right, we're starting to see some signs, some stuff slipping into his game. We saw it a few weeks back, and I was like, okay, a few times. But then, maybe things are getting to him too. But you need to step up. It's game day. There's only 17 games. You've got to just put that behind you and go out and lead the team. That's what you're there for as a captain. So I don't like that kind of stuff.
I just don't like. Sorry, mate.
Sponsor Brummy Bear. I'm going to respond to Brummy Bear is saying about the officiating. Yeah, it's just always the standard of the officiating was below average, no question. However, they were not the reason for our loss. We were simply not interested or good enough. And I absolutely agree. I'm not at all making excuses for the. The officiating is never why you lose a game, but it grates. There's like 3 or 4 times every game you'll see a hold, they don't get called. You're just making the point that it's just shit, and that call was ridiculous for the safety, but fortunately it wasn't a game changer, was it? Because we were already down and out by that time. And then Shorty's responded to your question. Shorty's responded to you, mate, directly to you here now, Chris Watts. He says, "Bro, I have been so many games. My record at games is in the 80%. You, Chris Watts, are the jinx, lol." That's his response. What's your response to that, Mr. Chris Watts?
Go fuck yourself. No, I'm only joking, Shorty. If they look well, I mean, the thing is, because you're going to the Detroit and the Seattle game, 2 tough games, especially the Detroit game. So it'll be, if anything happens, obviously it's on your head. But do you want to move on to the defense? Have we got anything more about that?
I don't think there's anything else. It's just the fact that our bloody offensive line was non-existent, wasn't it? You might as well put some fucking traffic cones out there. And we're decimated with injuries, and it's just rubbish. We're going to talk about Caleb. There's quite a few things going wrong, isn't there? That's the problem. Is that obviously the injuries are biting on the O-line. We can't get any consistency there. Some of them are playing awful. Like Tevin Jenkins is in the contract year. He's so inconsistent, isn't he? I don't think he's not going to be here next year. But we need to sort it out desperately, that O-line. And accuracy of Caleb, and our running game is dog shit. We just can't get that going. So of course that means that, like I think it was Matty Fachizi said earlier, getting your rookie to try 41 passing attempts. It was Matty, exactly, because we can't get the run game going. So what else have we got? But the other thing that really annoys me again with the play calling is Caleb's getting battered, and then we go out there with an empty set again. It's like I would rather they just put Roschon and Cole Kmet or Mercedes Lewis in the backfield, and just if you've only got 2 people to throw at least he's got a chance of finding them if they get open, if he's got time to stand in the pocket and throw a pass. But when he's getting pressures, like 46% dropbacks, he was pressured. It's just too many things going wrong. It was bloody awful, and I am really looking forward to going to Soldier Field to watch us against Detroit in December. So I might have to stick a big bag of gummies in my pocket and just fucking get hammered. But anyway, it'll be experience.
There's a slight aroma around Soldier Field, I noticed when I went last year, mate. So there's plenty of people touring on vapes, marijuana vapes and all that. But the thing is, what is the solution to the O-line problem? Is it just a matter of trying to just use who we've got? Or, I mean, I know the deadline for the trade deadline today, and I've not heard anything. I mean, I were hoping I might got an offensive lineman or 2 just to bolster numbers because, we are so down. But
I'll start designing some plays now, Brommy Bear. All right, thanks. Brommy says that I might be the head coach of that game.
I would say we are screwed, aren't we? We are screwed now.
I'll take my cleats. I might get a game at receiver. That'll be like the old days.
Well, I might as well strap up as a running back because we are down in numbers now with Herbert gone. So I'll get my old cleats and all that. Yeah, but well, I don't know what we can do with the offensive line, man. I don't know what we can do. It's just a matter of hoping people come back from injury, but people like a serious injury. He's got, he tore his pec, and so that's probably out. He's out for the season, and I just don't know how we can rectify it before the end of the season, apart from bringing people in today. And we are rapidly running out of time for the deadline. But we'll move on to the defense, man. It's what can we say? What can we say? Well, I think basically to me, the defense are on the pitch far too long, and you're asking them to carry the team week in, week out. And I think that's what happened on Sunday. It was a mixture of injuries, i.e., we didn't have Sweat, and just the matter that they were on the field for so much. And I think they were getting tired, so they were missing the gaps. They weren't keeping where they're supposed to be on the field, their gaps sort of thing. So go on, sir.
And actually, we had more possession than they did. We had time of possession, not by a great deal. It just felt like it, didn't it? I suppose if you're running it in from 53 yards, you're not taking that much time on the clock, are you?
That's right.
So, it's just,
I suppose it's what you do with them possessions when you've got the ball, isn't it, really?
Exactly.
Right?
You're right. We needed to get off the field. Again, we just couldn't. We got absolutely gashed in the run game, didn't we? 213 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and 6.3 yards to carry. We knew Connor was a threat. He's a battering ram he leads the NFL in missed tackle, in broken tackles, doesn't he? Leads the NFL in broken tackles. So we knew what he was about, and they showed it. And then they've got, who was the second guy? What's the name of the second running back? Not the first. Yeah, but anyway, their number 2 was also just, it was 6 point. If you're getting 6.3 yards a carry, you're going to keep running the ball until they stop you, aren't they? And that's what they were doing. They're just running it down our throats the entire game, which is why Kyler Murray's stats are not particularly. They were not particularly.
Right. Well, he only got 150 yards in the air, and he hardly rushed as well. But I think a lot of the problem with that is that if you watch, like I'm watching the 22 breakdown, what Shorty did last night with PJ and J2K. And one thing what I noticed and what they picked up on was our defensive line were so spread out wide because they were so paranoid about letting Kyler Murray get outside and do rollouts and run, that basically we just left the middle of the field completely open. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of them, that one would wrap the gut. I think our linebackers are struggling, especially Edmonds seems to struggle to get off blocks really quickly. He got 5 tackles. We got 3 sacks, which is good, but we could have done with some more. But what are your thoughts, mate? Any further thoughts about the D?
Yeah, in terms of you said about the sacks, that was the first time that Kyler Murray's been sacked since week 5. So yeah, I know, and you wouldn't think that the Cardinals' O-line is just full of superstars, but it's more the fact that he's mobile, isn't it? He grades out at the number 1 NFL quarterback under pressure. I think I mentioned it last week in the show. So he's brilliant under pressure. So he escapes and evades and gets rid of the ball and does a really good job of it. So yeah, that's the first 3 sacks they've had since week 5 against them, the Cards. 5 tackles for a loss, 3 quarterback hits. So we did not get anywhere near Kyler Murray as much as they did us. Yeah, Brommy Bear, I agree. He probably had the easiest game of his career against us. He didn't really have to do anything except hand the ball off to the running back. That's pretty much it, isn't it? So yeah, we were just awful. What can I say? And then it's not all about Montez Sweat, is it? We know the Tez effect, but Gordon and Brisker obviously are big in the run game too. But yeah, it's disappointing. That's to put it mildly. It was just dreadful. Yeah. And
it was horrendous.
Talk about fucking deja vu. We get a field goal, 25 seconds to go in the half. They've got to go 70 yards. And what do they do? 70 yards in 4 plays in 22 seconds. Wow. Yeah. I think I saw a tweet from, I think it was Kevin Fishbane, who said that in the last 30 years, the Bears have only conceded 6 touchdowns of 35 yards or more in the final seconds of a half. 6 times. Right. 2 of them in the last 2 weeks. So that's what we're up against.
I mean, would you put that down to the skill of the players we got playing D, or would you put it down to the scheme? Because to me, like even on passing downs, we seem to have the area behind the linebackers and the safeties, that's where a lot of teams seem to get their passing yards on us. And I'm just wondering if they're so far back, the linebackers, are we giving them yardage already before they can, get to make a tackle? I mean, what do you think?
I don't know. So you're saying they're sort of beating us on the second level? Maybe. I mean, that was the guy ended up running around Kevin Byard, didn't he? He came down into the box to catch the run, and he just ran outside him. But it was just not good against the run, and we knew that the Cards were because they were. I think they were graded 7th in the NFL in yardage per game in runs, so they were a good running team. I honestly have no explanation, mate. I just saw us just getting left, right, and centre. It was like zones up the middle. Anything, they were doing there were loads of counters and pulls, weren't they? They were really mixing up their run game, and we just couldn't seem to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, mate. I want to shout out to Matty for Cheesy here. He says, I've been putting up with this for 44 years. I was 5 in 1985. at least us old guys remember the 85 Bears a bit, don't we? Not that we could see it, a lot of it, but we managed. I snuck a first half of the Super Bowl in my parents' bedroom because they were still awake, and I had school the next morning. I was 14. I was told I wasn't allowed to stay up and watch it till the early hours, but I snuck in their room and I managed to see the first half of us smashing the Patriots. But then we didn't really see much of it, did we? For many years. Yeah.
No, I mean, I know Brummy Bear. He's around our age. He got into the Bears in the 80s, and you just think of the actual lack of actual football footage we used to get every week. Literally that hour show, which didn't always have the best presenters for a long time, but it got better near the end. Literally you had 2 minutes highlights of each, 3 or 4 minutes highlights of each team's game from the previous week, and that's all we had. We did manage to get the playoffs then, and obviously the show of the Super Bowl. But I know the worst thing is as well that when the Cardinals got that long touchdown just before the end of the first half, the Eberflus gets interviewed and he goes, "Oh yeah, I called a pass defense. Oh yeah, my mistake. I own up." And I'm like, for fuck's sake, mate, come on, because they were gassing us all half with the running game. All first half they were running our asses off. So it's just very un-Chicago Bear-like, isn't it, when you see teams run against us like that. I mean, I think last year we had quite a good running D. I'm sure we did. Better than we had this year, numbers anyway.
One of the best. Yeah, we were top 3 in run defense, and that's what's so disappointing this year is the fact we're just getting run all over on defense. We've got,
And the worst thing is as well, we're getting players knocked up on the D line like Big Cuz Billings. I don't know the state of his injury. I know KB on the tailgate show. We're going to send him a text, but obviously the injury reports will come out tomorrow. So I hope Big Cuz Billings is going to be all right because we need him in the middle. But it was just and also as well. Do you feel like the defense sort of gave up a little bit on the coach in the second half of the game? I think they just got battered and they just sort of thought, "This isn't our day. We'll just get it in."
Yeah, I'm thinking about that too. With obviously, we're going to talk about at the end about the current situation in terms of the club. But I'm not sure about this giving up. I don't think there's a conscious. They've still got pride, haven't they? They're still. I don't think teams are going to deliberately not play very well, just to try and make a point. I don't think they do that. But maybe there's some kind of subconscious kind of like they're just a bit tired of it, and they're kind of like Matty for Cheesy said about tired of the D carrying the game, which I'm sure they are as well. Offense has to pull its weight, and it's true. You can only rely on your defense to keep you in so many games. They're not there to do that every single week. I know we knew they'd have to lean on that at the start because Caleb was a rookie and we'll start to get rolling. But now is the time that we expected to be getting into some form, to get some offense going, so things are starting to look good. So it's a bit terrifying now running into our division games because I said last week, didn't I? To feel really good about going into Green Bay, we need to go into 2 wins, don't we?
Yeah. And that's all I was going to say, mate. We need to get on a bit of a roll before we got to the Green Bay game.
Sorry, mate. So just quickly before, the other thing as well is, I don't know if you know, but I think someone told me this, is that actually this weekend coming, Green Bay have got a bye week. So they're going to be nice and fresh coming straight into our game. Yeah, so brilliant. That's
I know. Well, the only good thing is that it's at Soldiers Field, but that doesn't really seem to make a blind bit of difference when it comes to Green Bay, does it? But so, are you happy? Do you want to move on at all? Like, are we done with that game now? Have you got anything more you want to say regarding the Cardinals game?
No, it was shit. I think that's probably summing it up as much as we need to. We all saw it. We need to think we get.
I like that statement, and I double that statement as well. They were fucking shit, and it was horrible. And
yeah,
you know what I mean? When we started sort of just getting ground down the second half, I just knew we weren't going to get back into this game. You know, with the offense playing like it was, and then the defense getting tired. So fuck it, we'll leave it. That's done now. That will last Sundays. So it's that time in the show we like to call Jason Stat Bomb. Fire away, Jason.
Right, this is what everyone comes here for. This is going to be a grim part of the show this weekend, I'm afraid. Although I've got a couple of from a Bears point of view. I think probably everyone's seen already the next-gen stats that said that 16 different Cardinals players got a pressure on our quarterback this weekend, which is the most number of different players to do it in a game since 2018, which is doubly disappointing. We know how bad our O-line was. The Cardinals came into the game getting a 26.6% pressure rate on the opposition quarterback, and on Sunday they had 46% pressure. So basically every other drop back, Caleb had a defender in his face. So and it showed it, didn't it, in the eye test? Yes, Rich Reba on X. This is relating to our accuracy problems with the receivers. He showed me some stats that said the highest inaccurate target rates for players with more than 25 targets this season in terms of receivers. So basically, when the ball's thrown at them, the most inaccurate receptions or throws receivers, and we've got 3 in the top 10, unsurprisingly. Roma Dunze is 6th with 22.7% inaccurate targets. Keenan is 8th with 21.4% inaccurate targets. And DJ is 10th with 20% inaccurate targets. So basically 1 in 5 or more of the passes thrown to our 3 main receivers is off target. So that's something we really need to improve. Whatever the reason, whether it's O-line, whether it's Caleb's head, because he never had inaccuracy problems coming out of college, did he? It wasn't one thing that we thought about. Actually, he's not very accurate. That wasn't the thing. So we need to find out why that's happening going forward. Last Sunday, the last time the Bears won a road game on a Sunday was in December 2021 in that snowy game against the Seahawks. Obviously, everyone knows now Flus is 0-18 on the road on a Sunday.
Was that 2021, you said?
2021.
My God.
2021. The last time we won an away game on a Sunday. That's bad.
So what do you know? Sorry, Jason, do you know the record of away wins? Is it something like we've won 3 away games with Flus and lost 17? Is that right?
18. I think he's 0-18 on Sunday on the road. Right. So the midweek games, the Thursday, Sunday night football or whatever, or Monday night. Right. We won 3, haven't we? One of them was a Monday night against Patriots, wasn't it? But
right.
So he's 0-18 on the road. But we've only won 3 away games under Eberflus, which is pretty poor. So I'm just another one, little interesting one. I don't even know what this means, but I just thought it just struck me. It just struck me when I was looking at the tables, looking at the standings, right? So the Bears are last place in the NFC North at 4-4, aren't they? 500 record, we're bottom of the division. There are 4 divisions that if we were in 4 of the other divisions, 4 of the 8, 4-4 would get you in second place in the division. So
I could believe that.
3 of them would be outright. You're in there, just you. But there's one of them you need a division tiebreaker to go into second. So your second and third are both on 4-4. But that's just a sign of our division. Interestingly, the Bears are the only last place team with a positive points differential. Every other last place team's got a negative points differential, which is you understand, but ours is positive, which is not unusual for a 500 team. But there you go. And funny enough, the Cardinals are the only team that are leading their division with a negative point differential.
Right.
I think the Texans are only +1. Yeah, I know. Right. It's just a funny little quirk. I just thought it was interesting. That's the kind of way my mind works. And then finally, I'm going to finish with a couple.
Jason, and it is true. That is how your mind works.
It is a bit, I'm afraid. Yeah, exactly. So a couple of positive ones for the Bears is that, like you said, Swift was targeted 6 times and he caught all 6 passes out the backfield. And that's his 4th game this season where he's caught 100% of the targets he's had. So every time, 4 games, whenever he's thrown the ball, he's caught it. And then Rome Odunze, he is the first Bears rookie to have multiple 100-yard receiving games since Willie Gault in 1983.
Wow, good stat, mate. Good.
There you go.
I love that stat, mate, because I really liked Willie Gault when I was a little kid. So great stats, man. But yeah, we'll move on to the next game, man. We got New England.
Let's do it.
Have you got any more stats, mate? Or do you want to? Can we move on?
I'll do for now. Yeah.
Cool. Right then, New England Patriots on Sunday. We're at home. The New England Patriots are 2-7. The 32nd in passing yards per game and the 24th in rushing yards per game on their offense. They've used 2 quarterbacks, but Drake Mays has took over because I think Jacob has got injured. And he's at the moment 125 attempts, 82 complete for 770 yards, and he's got 65.6 completion record. They've got quite a good running back. He's got 114 carries and he's got 438 yards and 6 TDs. Stevenson.
Mate, I'm going to chalk these off while you're really. I'm going to get them off my list. So you're stealing my thunder. I love it. I'm pleased. That's it.
It's like now I'm turning the stat thing into a competition to see who can get more stats out between me and you.
Right, that's how it is it? Okay, right.
That's how it is, Jess. You know what I mean? Bring it on, North against the South. But I knew that we were going to be pissed off of talking about the Cardinals game for a long period of time, so I just thought I'd do a little bit of homework. But we got to beat the Patriots, man. I mean, they are one of the worst teams in the NFL.
I agree completely here with Bromley Bear. And we know the Bears. We're going to talk about this, aren't we? The future. We're going to talk after this about what's the current situation. But I agree completely. If we lose against New England, the Bears will have to break with tradition and fire Flus. His position will be untenable. If they lose against the goddamn Patriots, who are rubbish, at home, going into the Green Bay game, although that was in many ways would be like filming with terror if we sack the coach and then let someone else take us into the Green Bay game. But God knows, I think if we lose, that's unthinkable, isn't it? To lose to the Patriots at home now, it's just then everything's gone, isn't it? That's the season. Like you might as well just pack it up and go home. It's just ridiculous.
If we lose against the Patriots, that's it for the season. I don't think we'll win another game. I really don't.
Possibly not.
Because that's such a psychological blow. And if we pick up more injuries as well in that game, then how much more can a squad take, if you know what I mean? How much more can a coach do? And then, I love the Bears. It's the Chicago Bears brought me so much joy. And, and I met so many cool people because I'm a Bears fan. But I fucking hate this. We can't, they don't break tradition about, hiring and firing coaches. It's so not reactive to a situation. That's what pisses me off. And we're the ones what suffer the fans. Do you know what I mean? We're the ones sort of pumping money into they're worth over $6 billion, the Bears are, and that's from the fans. And it just seems like, because I think as well, because in soccer you got you have the downside of relegation for clubs, which is like a make or break. And because it's the NFL and they don't have that structure, then, if you're like the Bears ownership, what's a family what owns it, you don't have that worry of, if we get relegated, we're going to lose so many millions of, dollars income. So are they just happy to accept mediocrity? Because that's what it feels like to me sometimes. What were they class as some improvement? But this has got to be a game win, man. This has got to be a game win. And we've got to dominate it as well. And if we don't,
said that the last few weeks, haven't we?
Well, we have, but sure. I mean, the thing is, this was like one of our guarantees, wasn't it? This was like we thought the Cardinals were a bit of a guarantee at the start of the season, and we thought the Patriots game was going to be. We thought that was going to be a guaranteed win, and it should be, man. You know what I mean? We've got so much more talent than them, but we've got so many injuries. We've got so much internal strife. Players aren't really playing to the whistle. Leaders aren't leading men. That if we lose against Patriots, man, it's like I said, I think it will just fucking snowball, and we will just start losing, and we'll start losing, and we will be the bottom team in the NFC North. Anything more you want to add about the Patriots, brother?
Well, yeah, we'll talk about the last game quickly. We'll say what we'll go back onto that.
Sure.
And we'll wrap up at the end. But yeah, the last game was a 2017 loss to the Titans in overtime, wasn't it? They lost in overtime. Like you said, Drake May was 29 of 41, 206 yards, 5-yard average, a touchdown on 2 interceptions. He was sacked 4 times, and he had 6 passes defended. He also actually, interestingly, it's another mobile quarterback. He led the team with 95 rushing yards. So the next best one was their running back, who was actually their best running back is Ramondre Stevenson, who had a touchdown, but he had 10 attempts for 16 yards. And that was it. So they're pitiful on offense. So this is our get right game, isn't it? It has to be, because otherwise we're not. Before we go into Green Bay, then we're proper fucked. So yeah, he was 5 for 38 with a touchdown in the passing game as well. Their running back Stevenson. He got 5 catches, 38 yards. Hunter Henry is their leading receiver, the tight end. He got 7 catches for 56 yards. Over the season, he's got 400 yards and a touchdown. They converted 3 of 11 third downs against the Titans. So, again, they're not pulling up any trees. They had 185 yards passing, 110 yards rushing. So, 295 yards offense in total. So, yeah, that's poor, isn't it? We have got a chance to get it right now against another bad team. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the chat there. People are now, Foster's asked, hello, Foster. He's asked, what 6 or 7 games can they win? No chance. 6 games now, I can't see it. But hopefully they'll win one of the games I'm going to. That's all I'm asking now. That's my bar has come right down. Never mind the playoffs. Can they just win one game, either Detroit or Seahawks, please? Thank you very much, Bears. That's all I want for Christmas. Thank you very much. But anyway, their kicker missed 1 field goal from 52 yards. He made the other one at 56, so he's got a decent leg, but maybe his accuracy is not awesome. Their defense, so 20 points they let the Titans get. They gave up 167 yards rushing and 233 yards passing, and 2 touchdowns in the air. Mason Rudolph was a Titans quarterback because I think Levis has been benched, isn't he, or is he injured? But he's dreadful, isn't he?
Rudolph didn't from the Steelers last season, I think. I mean, he's terrible.
The Patriots defense managed 1 sack, 5 tackles for loss, and 4 quarterback hits. So, as we said last week, they're not particularly strong up front on the D. So maybe that we can potentially put some offensive line play on tape that gives Caleb a chance. So
it feels like a bit of a Groundhog Day, doesn't it? When we start talking about the opposition. It's like, oh yeah, they've got a weak defensive front. We should be all right, like we said last week, and we got absolutely ripped apart.
Exactly. So in terms of their defense, the defensive ranks, of the Patriots defense, they've given up 361 yards per game, which is the 8th most in the NFL. Their passing game is 224 yards per game on defense, and that's the 11th most. And then they're giving up 137 yards average on the ground every game, which is 7th most in the NFL. So to compare that to the Bears' run defense currently, we're giving up 131 yards a game, which is good enough for 13th in the NFL. So that's how it compares to ours. So their run defense, in theory, is even worse than ours. So maybe we can get a running game going. Who knows? Let's wait and see.
That's if I've actually got enough people to play offensive line, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially it being at home, especially like it's like the first of 3 home games in a row. It'd just be nice to get that turnaround and just try and get that offense clicking a bit. I was quite happy that they did go into the no huddle like at the start of the game, but they didn't seem to really use it very well. They didn't seem to really get much tempo with it. But I'm going to say the Bears are going to beat the Patriots on Sunday. they've got to fucking beat the Patriots Sunday. This is like, I know last week we were saying it's like that were a massive game due to what happened in Washington the week before, but if we lose against the fucking Patriots, mate, then there's definitely something going wrong throughout the organisation. Yeah, so I'll give you we'll do the predictions. So I've predicted that the Bears will win 24-14. So hopefully our offense will get back on track a bit. Our deal get themselves together. Have you heard anything more about sort of Brisker? Is his health been cleared yet? Is concussion is a concussion protocol?
Yeah, so for last week he was. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's 5 weeks now, isn't it? That's really worrying that he's still in a concussion protocol.
Because it happened before. It happened before the London game, the week London game.
Right. Yeah, it was the week before the London game. So yeah, it's not a great sign. We obviously the first injury report's out tomorrow, isn't it? So we always do this on a Tuesday. We get it unless people have heard anything they've seen, on Twitter or whatever, or anything from any of the reporters. We don't really get to know too much about that unless someone can jump in the chat. But no, not heard anything about that, mate. Maybe I don't know if Gordon was close because he was questionable, wasn't he? But didn't make it. Yeah. But hamstrings can be a pain, they can be really awkward to get rid of, to shake off. And we don't want him risking a really bad injury. The Patriots' offense is pretty bad. They average 264 yards per game, which is dead last in the NFL. They pass 153 yards average per game, which is dead last in the NFL. And their running game, gulp, is the 9th best in the NFL at 111 yards a game. So that's where we need to sort of be on the ball. Where every game, someone said it in the chat. I think it was either Brummy or Matty Ficci said you can't sleep on any team in this league any given Sunday. We've seen that already. We need to be. This is the game. This is the week where all the captains need to get together with themselves, with all the coaches, and they need to have that conversation again they had earlier in the season and say, like, this is the season, because we're probably going to run through the season with, let's say, we probably won't get anyone on O-line this week. We probably won't get a change of coach during the season. So we're going to have to ride out this year with what we've got. So they're going to have to get their heads together, be fucking adults and grown men, and what are we going to come out with some pride and just go, we need to get our shit together and then have a plan for the Patriots and a plan for the fucking Packers. And we need to just...
that last stat you gave us, Jason, just put the fear of God into me. When you said they were 9th best in the NFL, like, oh, shit.
I'm running. Yeah. But
as well, Jason, I want your score prediction, mate.
I am going to say 27-13.
To the Bears.
Bears, obviously. Yeah.
You'd have said Patriots, mate.
Yes.
That would have been the end of the British Bears show forever.
End of the show now. Exactly. It'll be like, right, good night, goodbye. The British Bears show is over. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm open.
Oh my days.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
A bit of a good lead by the Bears and that, but we'll leave that game behind and we'll finish off with just sort of like the gossip, what's going on regarding the Bears, regarding the head coaching, and really, I think Eberflus is sort of his seat's getting slightly warmer every week. There's always. I think we did actually have a players' meeting with the coaches either yesterday or today. I'm sure I heard somewhere or read somewhere in the last day. But is it the lunatics controlling the asylum, or is it the wardens controlling the lunatics? It feels like Eberflus is losing the locker room. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
I
was going to talk about that from you, Bear. Talking of bollocks, which to go back to the thumbnail of the show, which Shorty did. Did you? Yeah. What did you say to him to put on the thumbnail?
Oh, Shorty. This is quite a good story. But earlier on, Shorty had spelt it as bullocks, and because obviously America, so I sort of texted him on WhatsApp going, "Oh, you spelt bollocks wrong," and he goes, "Well, I don't know what bollocks is." And I thought, it's like an English British phrase. It's like it's a derogatory put down phrase.
test cycles.
Anyway. But yeah, it's because I've been listening to loads of Sex Pistols recently. They're their album never mind bollocks, but that's what made me think of it. But I think.
Sorry. To go to Brommy Bear's point here, exactly. I laughed out loud because they obviously the Cardinals coach, they grabbed him on the way into the locker room at halftime. They got loose on the way out. And so yeah, Brommy Bear has commented, he says, talking of bollocks, and someone please explain that pile of shit that came out of Flus's mouth at halftime. That was as embarrassing as the performance on the pitch. Because he said, and I quote, it was we know what he said, we all chatted, we know what the score is, and we've got each other.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
It's
no, dude, not a plan. We've just got each other. That's great.
I mean, that's the extent now where he's got to. He's all you hear now. It's like Nagy in his last year. It's all them coach speech. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're creating this culture. We're all going to get together and look inwards to solve the problem. Well, we're halfway through the fucking season, mate. Why are we in this state? Why are these problems here in the first place? Do you know what I mean? I know injuries has caused us a lot of shit, but I'm very much losing my patience, man. And I don't know what short I'm thinking of when he put bullocks. I sort of thought, what the fuck's he on about? But anyway, I'm sort of losing my patience with Eberflus, and I've completely lost my patience with Waldron. I just don't. I mean, I know the players are. I don't know, man. They're either not playing. I mean, I know a lot of wide receivers aren't running their outside enough, and also as well, some of the blocking's just fucking horrendous. But I think really that it sounds to me like the players are turning off to the coach speech. Because you imagine if you listen to Eberflus and if that's how he talks to the guys every week in, week out, you're gonna be thinking, is that all he's got? Is that all? It's just waffle, and it don't mean anything to me. What are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, as Ron Winarski said, welcome to the chat, Ron. Did they have a group hug too? Lol. Yeah, possibly they did. They've got each other, and that's all they need.
Yeah. So we need Jason.
But no, you're right. It's just there's a lot of rumours now flying around, and I think media love stirring this shit up, don't they? So you kind of have to sort of take it with a pinch of salt to say how much of it is just clickbait, how much of it is what they're hearing, how much of it is they're just trying to stir shit up for clicks or for attention. But it's quite worrying that there's this constant drip now from what we're seeing the players on the field. We're seeing in terms of press conferences. There's now been Komet, Jalen Johnson, Bayard, and DJ Moore have all come out and made sort of comments to the press where you think, well, that doesn't sound great with the way you've responded to that question. So, are they losing the locker room? Because once that's happened, then forget it. It's just the problem that we have is, like we said, is that the McCaskies don't change the management, don't change the head coaches in the middle of the season. And I can't, to some degree, I can see why, because it's at the end of the season when you get a chance to get the best coaches. Because who's available now mid-season? If you're looking at someone you want to sign and keep them on to keep going and develop the quarterback and get this young team going and keep it moving and use the window we're building with this defense, then who's available really? I mean, would it be insane that you get sack if anything doesn't go right next week, you sack Flus and you get, dare I say, Bill Belichick in for half a season just to try and organise them and get exploits and get some wins? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm saying, who do you get? People have talked about Grable, haven't they? Mike Grable and someone else. One other name was there. But is that a good idea halfway through the season? Because who's available? That you want. If this talk about Ben Johnson is true, then we're going to have to ride it out to the end of the season. And if they have a good season and can get him as a head coach, if that's an option. But is he a good head coach? Has he been a head coach before? I don't know the goddamn answer.
I mean, the thing for me is that I'd rather have an head coach what isn't calling the players. I want an head coach that's like a CEO, and then we have the best assistants. But I mean, if they did get rid of Eberflus, then obviously they probably have to go internal and get Waldron. There's no point. I don't know, man. I mean, would you want to get rid of Eberflus and Waldron together? And then just just sort of, take somebody from the offensive staff just to call the plays. until the end of the season, and you could have Washington, calling the place of a D. Because I think Mason, if you're going to get rid of Eberflus, you might as well get rid of Waldron as well. Because what's he doing? We're not like the stats you tell me. We're always in the back end, aren't we? Of the NFL stats for offense in a lot of categories. So would it be such a miss if we get rid of both of them? But I just think Eberflus is a good coordinator, but it's just everything seems to be a bit too. Everybody looks a bit too comfortable to me. Everything seems to be a bit too nicey and kissing each other's dicks. So.
Thanks, Brummy. I'll do that. Once I've had a couple of beers, if I see George McCaskey in the car park and when we're tailgating, I'll grab him and just give him my CV.
Yeah, I met him twice, mate, and I met him twice when he were doing his walkabouts. And the thing is, you just want to be really polite, don't you? You know what I mean? I met his wife the day before, 2 days before, when I was doing the Chicago morning show. Yeah, well, I don't see rumours going, but I did. I did not go there, Jason. She's a very nice older lady. Let's just say that she was very nice, very polite, and I was very polite back to her as well.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, but
the thing is, God, and again, it's like we keep saying. We've seen this before. I mean, they brought back John Fox and then drafted Trubisky, and then they sacked the coach, and then they got another coach in. They drafted they brought Nagy back, got rid of Trubisky and drafted Fields. They brought him back. Well, got rid of him. They then got a coach. Then we drafted Caleb, and then we brought the coach back. It's just like we've all seen it before. And I was a really funny meme. It might be a bit rude, but I saw a really funny meme on Reddit that said that basically Virginia McCaskey is going to live forever because she's a vampire and her energy is the tears of Bears fans. She gets the energy from the grief of Bears fans, so she's never going to die. I've seen a lot of people that are like, the family is what's doing it because they just want to hire someone who's nice rather than someone who will just tear a strip off the players if they're not performing.
That was the thing about Harbaugh, wasn't it? They were saying like they didn't want to hire Harbaugh because they didn't want like some person wanted complete control of that big person like Dictor because they had problems with Dictor about how he did, even the most successful fucking coach in Bears history. Do you know what I mean? And you think about how much he won in the 80s, and we should have won at least another Super Bowl with him. But I think basically. Yeah, I can see him sticking out to the end of the season. But the thing as well is like, why did they don't seem to line up very well? Like they'll get like an head coach and then get a new GM, do you know what I mean? They never seem to just get right timing. It's not that fucking difficult, man, to figure it out about timing and getting everybody together and whatever. It's not rocket science, man, and it's just because that's how they are. I don't think they've got very football.
Shorty summed it up really well on his beautiful rant on Sunday night. When he said the way they did it all wrong, did it arse about face, didn't they? As we say in England, it's just they got the head coach and then the GM and then the president or whatever it was, Kevin Warren. It's like do it the other way around. You get the chief exec, or the president in, then you get your general manager, then you get your coach, and then you get your quarterback. But it's just the Bears way, isn't it? We all know what it's like. And it kind of makes us immune to it. We almost laugh about it, but then also getting entirely enraged at some points. But it wouldn't be so bad if it worked well.
I mean, it's just like a cycle of fucking idiocy, isn't it, really? It's sort of like we're not learning from the past and we keep making the same mistakes. But the thing is, we've been making the same mistakes now since we won the Super Bowl in '86. Do you know what I mean? And it's sort of like there's a little bit of me going, this team's never going to change under this ownership, and they're never going to sell the Bears. The McCaskies are never going to sell the Bears because they're fucking loaded. The Bears like the fifth profitable team in the NFL. So, but then but you have a sense about their ownership. It's like we don't own the stadium. We don't get any revenue from the stadium at game days. And you think, well, what sort of ownership is this? You know what I mean? They can't even sort out a new stadium. That's becoming a farce. Like, we've got Kevin Warren saying he wants it on the lakefront, even though they spent millions at Allerton Heights. And the thing about Allerton Heights is there's a train station bang outside where the stadium would be. So it'll be so easy for people to get there from the city. It's literally like a half an hour train journey from the city, if that. And also as well, you'd have all that space and you can make it into like a, Chicago Bears experience where, I mean, it is cool when you go to Soldier Field, mate, in December. It is really cool. Like you look out and you see the skyscrapers in the background and all that. But you got to think, don't you want to own the stadium if you want the revenue? You're so scared of actually investing in this yourselves and all this. That what worries me is like, as long as the McCaskies are in charge, are we always going to be in this fucking cycle of mediocrity? That's the thing that worries me.
Yeah, and the problem is now is how do we break this cycle? Because we've always committed to this next stage of the cycle, haven't we? Because if we sack the coach now, then we've got our new quarterback, and we're going to get another head coach in to try and bring him along. So when do we stop this madness? So it's just, you're right. I don't know. I don't have the answer. And that's the saddest thing. So it just is what it is. We've got to suck it up. I can't control it. I'm going to just have some fun and just fuck it. Just
that's the best way of looking at it. If you overthink it, it'll drive you insane. And also as well, and it'll start you hating the team as well. And that's one thing I've never wanted to go down really. But it does to me make me feel about like until they sell the club, then are we always going to be like this because they're happy about being mediocre and they're not really losing out financially if we have a poor season because we're all going to still buy the Bears gear.
Revenue split by 32, isn't it? Yeah. And I think the other thing is it's going to be a test. This is going to be the problem is that this could cost Ryan Poles because he could go down with the Matt Eberflus ship, couldn't he? And I know they've got really good friends that they get on really well. They have a great relationship and they have the same agent, don't they? So this is the problem now that Ryan Poles is going to have to get to this point. And the good thing that it might help him is that him and Ian Cunningham are really close too, and they work really well together. Ian Cunningham could have left for a GM job himself, but I think he wanted to stay to finish the job because him and Ryan Poles are really tight, aren't they? And they seem to work brilliantly together. So maybe he can be the confidant with Ryan Poles that he can chat through and actually, I'm going to have to make a tough decision here and I'm going to have to get rid of the coach because that's why it might drag on. And then maybe we'll get, because Kevin Warren's a bit more ruthless, I think. He strikes me as a guy that, although, Bromley Bear, he says he doesn't like being associated with mediocrity or failure, but we need to see him now. Is he going to be the hard-assed guy that's going to go, right, Mr. Poles, you need to fire the head coach. This is not good enough.
But what I'd say about that, Jason, is that Poles does seem to, like, when we saw Hard Knocks, he does seem to he does attach himself to players. And maybe because that's, maybe he was like an undrafted free agent, he was at the bottom of the pile, didn't make it in the NFL himself as an O-lineman. And I think he gets himself too personally attached to certain players and certain ways of doing things. And then at the day, it comes to the point where he's got to save his own job. Then friendship is friendship, mate. But at the end of the day, he don't want to lose his job. He don't want, he don't want to lose his reputation, what he's trying to build. So, I think really if things go downhill the second half of this season, then I just can't see how there could be any other option apart from starting again with the coaching staff, really. And I don't even know who to bring in. Ben Johnson, I think that was pushed out by his agent. But he could be, and he's an awesome offensive coordinator, but that doesn't mean he's a really great head coach. Exactly. Because you're multitasking in, that's what I feel like Eberflus is great defense, but then when he's having to fucking deal with all the rest of the team, the other side of the team, the offense and whatever. And the thing is, I can understand one thing as well with Eberflus, like what must piss the players off is his lack of game management. What we've seen over the last sort of couple of years. If you had a play, you must be thinking, for fuck's sake, coach, this is high school bullshit, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting, man, to see what's going to happen over these next 2 months. It's never a dull moment being a Bears fan. But yeah, I think we'll finish the show today. I know it's been a bit of a rant show, but that we're just reflecting on where the Bears are, mate, at the moment, I think. So I'd just like to thank everybody who's viewing, everybody who's in the chat. I want to thank Mrs. Dan Shorty for being the guy and setting up the show and letting us be on his network. He knows I love him, man. And yeah, shout out to you, Jason, man. It's been another great show. I know it's been quite negative, but that's the reality of the Bears at the moment, man. We're not going to sugarcoat it and act like fools. There's no point.
I'm just laughing at Matty Fachidi's comment here. So I saw a couple of people mention about bringing back the Honey Bears, and Matty Fachidi said that the Honey Bears could block better than this O-line. So yes, suit them up.
I agree. So yeah,
that could encourage a lot of holding calls, though. Let's be careful.
Oops, sorry.
Anyway, enough of that. So let's not encourage that behaviour.
Do you want to give any shout outs?
Yeah, just same as you, really. You've done it all for me, mate. Yeah, to Shorty and all the guys on the channel. Shorty for setting us up, and Foster for being there as well. He's in the chat today. Couldn't make the show, but we're thinking of you, mate. All the guys in the chat, all the people that listen on the wherever stream you're using. And thanks, guys like Matty and Matty for Cheesy, Brummy Bear, Ant Mass, all the guys that have contributed in the chat. So if I've missed anyone, sorry. Thanks for being there and making it fun with us. So Ron Winarski as well. Who else was there? Scroll. This is a great show, isn't it? Scroll. And Mass again. But yeah, all you guys that contributed, that listen, that join in. You love the Bears as much as we do and are probably just as kind of pissed off right now. But we'll come through it together. We've got each other. Just remember that.
Jason, we've got each other at all times. Cool. Let's finish the show with a big fat bear down. Bear down.